Hello, War of the Visions fans. I'm Jackie Fox, and I think a lot of you, especially newer players, are going to really benefit from this video from a lot of the things that I'm going to be discussing here, especially in 2024. This may be covering an older topic in this game's history, but it's also a very recent and relevant video, and it will also have a lot in handy for older players that have been playing for a while but maybe didn't understand completely how some of the game's systems work. Also, am I still normal, Sephiroth? Where's my wing? Yes. Okay, with that being fixed, let's get into the video. And the first question is, what is Bells? And is it still the best TMR in the game? Because it definitely was for a long time. So we're talking about Illusory Bell. This is the TMR for Xiza. And if you are painfully new, a TMR is what you get for basically unlocking level 99 for a character. You don't necessarily have to get them to level 99, but you have to unlock it. So with this, there are kind of bad stats in some ways, like newer TMRs tend to have better stats, and when you're on the equip screen, if you rank by overall stats, Bells will often be almost at the very bottom, even below some like lower rarity TMRs, because these base stats are just so low. However, it does have really important base stats. Accuracy of 14 is not bad, but maybe not the best. This is a decent accuracy TMR though because of that, but like the real thing to write home about is 7 agility. There are very few TMRs to this day that have this high of agility, and maybe this account doesn't have like the very best stuff, right? It's newer. Here we go. I should probably do that descending. Because I don't have access to a ton of new TMRs, as you can see, this is by far the thing with the highest agility that I have. And with a speed, trust rune passive set, this gets up to 10 added agility for your character. Another comparison for like an easy to get TMR that I really recommend for a lot of people, as it's really great for countering Ashen King. Also good against Sephiroths of all stripes. There's a lot of units that this TMR works well against because of this ability to remove auto restore. But it only has 3 agility. It is a relatively fast TMR though. Like having any amount of agility on a TMR is usually pretty great. Even the Chronal Cap here, which was an SR rank, this is what you get for 99ing Phoebe. Even this was important in the game as like an early TMR for a while because, 11 defense was actually decently high for a minute, but 5 agility was definitely the important part. Like light attack resist was kind of cool too, but let's get back to Bells because this is the important one. And the reason that it's important actually still has nothing to do with everything I've said. I think that these are some of the cooler parts of Bells. The agility just being higher than everything else. But there's another thing that they gave it that's higher than everything else, and that's auto restore for AP. Especially in the beginning of the game when this was decidedly the best TMR in the game, it was for an intersection of reasons. The agility that I've already mentioned being unparalleled by other TMRs of that time, big fucking deal. That is definitely not worth understating. But the thing that was most relevant to the meta at the time was the fact that a lot of, there has pretty much always been a strong physical meta within War of the Visions, and physical units get a low AP start. There were a lot of physical units that had high AP costs in their kit early on, could do some relatively powerful things, but the AP costs were pretty high, and it was just really hard to get them to build up to have more than a couple of turns AP, because there wasn't like AP consumption down, there weren't AP restore all throughout everybody's kit the way that there is often now. So it became really important to have such a large amount of AP auto restore. This would become more and more superfluous as the game goes on, especially in PvP, although I would still say that Bells gets used quite often for giving you the agility boost without having to waste a buff turn on haste. Haste TMRs, though, are kind of the meta right now. So if you want to know what like a meta TMR is at this moment, we can look at, for instance, Sephiroth's TMR. Even though this does boost accuracy, it actually doesn't boost your accuracy as much as Bell's does, which is interesting. Actually, let me go ahead and just fully enhance this, because this is a good one. Go ahead and favorite it too. But with Swift Cruelty, you're getting 40% speed up for 42% speed up for 3 turns, and 4 turns, which is nice. Most hastes are 3 turns, so this is like definitely a next level. I think, unless I'm reading that wrong. But the accuracy rate is also pretty helpful here, especially with all the evasion. Anyways, this isn't the TMR that I'm talking about. I'm just explaining how this is one of those TMRs that is pretty popular right now. But going back to Bell's, they haven't released any source of large AP restore in the game. So while it's a little bit overkill for a lot of modern PvP units, this is still an incredibly important effect because it is the best of its kind, and this becomes a lot more important in PvE. So there's a lot of cases where you want Bells to go off first turn in PvE because this will set you up to be able to go the other 19 turns without running out of AP if you manage everything correctly. This is a big deal. Having no downtime during, especially if you're like soloing or doing like raids with one unit, Bells just becomes the most important TMR you could possibly run for all of the reasons because of that. And here's the part that's going to be really helpful for even less new players, I think, because some of this gets into more technical stuff that's going to help you build, like, this is going to be something that new players are going to have to build up to on one hand, but this is also something that maybe you can already do as a not new player, but you just haven't been maximizing these systems yet. So one thing that you're going to want to do as a newer player, try to pick up these characters every month. It's going to be a good source of rainbow orbs, but you also, when you can afford to do so, you want to pick up shards for these characters. And you want to probably pick one at a time, because I'll explain why you're doing this in a second. It's not just about the character. In fact, even if you don't want to build particular characters, you can still do this. Although I would recommend, let's say if you're going more the Joom route, you're doing a lot of heavy water stuff, let's go ahead and build up Ildira first then, in that case. And ignore the rest of them. Focus all of your metals into Ildira. Maybe still buy the units, but just buying shards for her. But the important part for you is going to come here in Guild. This is where you can acquire Xiza to begin with. It's also where you can acquire more Xiza shards. Why do you want more Xiza shards, though? Well, once you get her to 99 and acquire Bells, you're also going to do this. Check this. So soul medals. I just earned 10 soul medals here. If I want to get another 20, because I've got these two characters past 99 as well, I can get myself another 20. This is a really important resource for you. So you can buy a lot of cool things with this, but most importantly, if you hit this button down here, you can trade for mind spheres. This is especially important for collaborative units. This is one of the only ways to get your hands on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these on day one without spending like a lot of viz. And as you can see, I have a stockpile enough that even though these are at the most expensive that they will be, I can still get 154 of them if I wanted to. Which I don't particularly. It is Sephiroth. I am excited for that, but I think I'm good on spending that many on them. Once you get a character to 120, and yes, you do have to fully unlock them to level 120, and again, this is going to be kind of the second goal. After you've gotten Bells, you're trying to 120 your Xiza. Not because she's a good character, but because of this. The Transcendent Mind Sphere Exchange Shop. So don't exchange for these. It's a trap. MR, SR, rare, it's just don't do it. There aren't really any units that benefit from these. And I also would say that you probably don't want to Use Transcendent Mind Spheres on non-limited units when you can help it. So here's Xiza. I've been building up my spheres for Xiza. I don't plan to build her out, so I have 304 spheres for her. I can just trade those all in for 60 Transcendent Mind Spheres. This will be 3 reincarnations for a character of my choosing. Even collaborative characters can benefit from these, and that's really how I would recommend that you spend them. So because I've banked up about 30 days worth of shards for her, this is like a month's worth of shards I'm cashing in at once, I can get 3 reincarnations. Considering that there are 7 characters total that you can do this with, and again, I would recommend picking Xiza and one of the characters that suit you from the Friend Metal shop, build them up to 120 first, then start unlocking the other characters. Focus more on them. Still get the units every month because again, that's going to be a Rainbow Vision Sphere resource for you. That's going to get you 7 of those per month, which is great. I might use Whisper a little bit. Now I'm getting into characters that I actually use though. Okay. I don't have as many characters that I can pull from here. And as you go through the game, you'll get more and more that are up to this line. Now, once again, you have to get them to 120 or it just doesn't work. This is why these characters were not eligible for trades. I definitely want quadruple shot. Okay, I'm going to have to give her some more spheres because I can definitely get some stuff from her. But also, this is more of a fire account, so I could even build her. That could be nice. No, I don't want a deposit. I want a withdrawal. Okay, well, I've at least unlocked 120. I don't think I really have enough of these to just spend them willy-nilly like this, but if I were to take her up to 120 as well, then I would be able to trade her additional Mind Spheres in for universal ones if I so chose. Between understanding these last 2 forms of currency within the game are really important for fast building characters. These are the 2 forms of currency that I use the most other than soul stars when I'm building a new character. So these are the ones that you want to be banking. You can only generate them so much at a time, so you really want to be banking them throughout your entire time playing this game. And that should start as early as possible. And regardless of whether or not it's the best or most used TMR in PvP, even though I think it's still probably the most important one for PVE and will be for a very long time, just the sheer fact that getting Xiza to 99 also unlocks you the first of these currencies for her, as well as a way to daily get 10 of it, and will eventually, once she reaches 20, also net you 2 Transcendent Mind Spheres a day as well in that same transaction for no additional cost except creating her Mind Spheres, I guess. That really unlocks 2 of the most important and maybe kind of like hidden currencies. Like I every time I talk about these in a video, I have a person who's been like, I've been playing this game for 3 years and I had no idea that either of those things were in here. Holy shit, this makes building characters so much easier. And if you didn't know about this, then I just changed your game. Thank you. You should like and subscribe. But also, while you're at it, check out that link in the description. There's books, there's other channels, there's all sorts of stuff. Recently, I've been making more main channel videos. I'd taken away from that for a little while. But we're talking about all sorts of crazy aspects of like modern tech culture, big data, that kind of thing. If you're interested in that, check out that channel as well. That one's also going to be right here on YouTube, but there's also podcasts if you'd rather do it that way. If you want something to listen to on your drive to work, for instance, great way to go there. I also release like my main channel videos usually as podcasts that have a lot more audio engineering done to them than my typical post for this channel, for instance. But hey, that's the format, you know? But all that being said, if you could also check out the books, that would be great. And since I've explained all that, then I guess now it's time for the outro. Remember that liking and subscribing are the free-to-play option for YouTube, so do that, and also tell me what you're thinking in the comments. If you have any questions, new player questions, drop them there, especially because other new players are going to see your question and my answer or any community answers, and that's just going to help them too. So by commenting on this video, you actually have a hand in making it more useful, even if you're just asking what feel like stupid questions, because I guarantee you those stupid questions are the ones that other people aren't asking and do need the answers to, but don't know they need the answers to. Anyways, with all that being said, I'll see you in the next one.